real topic. Let's go from our platform, Unity Inspired, Unity Flow, Relationship Flow podcast. Number one, intimacy, being proactive. This is the avoda, this is the energy today of focusing in on how we can be more intimate and proactive in bringing about the results that bring more united souls, more connection, more oneness, more unity, and prepare us for this new year that's coming very, very soon. We're already today. Chai Elul, the chias, the energy. We just had a beautiful, beautiful shir from Rav Shlomo Katz. He should be blessed, and the beautiful community shir David. I myself spoke last night. You can check it out on the Unity Flow platforms. Spoke between Mincha Marev, between the afternoon and evening prayers, connecting the day and the night. It's a very important time at Eitz Rotzon. We spoke about the chias, the energy that's within Chai Elul. So we're here right now in our home studio, working slowly to get everything more and more professional, more improved. We already have now a proposal for anyone who's interested, so we can take this podcast to the next level, to a studio, have an editing team, a video team, get the audio all on a higher level. We're already discussing with Ben Wallach and his team how we can do that, but it would need a big sponsor, big opportunity for anyone out there to join us. In the meanwhile, today we will be joining B'nai Akiva, the World B'nai Akiva opportunity to connect to a beautiful program, Mechina over there, and join with these talented young men who have joined us in the Holy Land. There's already a bit of feedback coming on Instagram, Baruch Hashem. I want to keep hearing from people on all the different platforms I have over here, the tablets. If anyone wants to reach out, I can type right in front of you and be able to connect either there or here or speaking. Either way, it's just tremendous support to know that people out there are enjoying this process. After the class, you can comment in the commenting section and share feedback and share this to your sphere of influence, your opportunity to bring the unity flow global. It's something that we're working very hard on, especially in this climax time of Tafshin Pei Gimel. We are the climax point of the year, 12 days before Rosh Hashanah, and entering into a new time period of Tafshin Pei Daled, a time to really step forth and be poda, to come to redemption, to come to the inner truths of who we are, what we're here for, to do our mission, to do our calling in this world, something which, thank God, everyone in their own way can develop a deeper understanding, a markim from the depths we call out to Hashem. I spoke about that last night. I want you to check it out. We discussed, and Rav Shlomo Katz spoke about doing tshuva, even though it can be something bitter, but to bring it together with simcha, with joy. We've been talking a lot about Elul with joy, Elul joy. We've got a new hat, Baruch Hashem, a new chef, a new energy. We're going to be going to London this week. Already by Yom Hamishi, we'll be in London in the night. Hopefully, Lal Shlishi will be joining the JLE if possible, and then that's in Golders Green, and we'll be in Edgware most of the time, and then back to Golders Green for Shabbat by Rav Yaakov Klein and Rav David Tugendorf and his beautiful Kila Nishmas Yisrael, as well as joining my family, most importantly, the Golsa family for Simchas over the weekend, and we dedicate the shir to the success of Zechariah ben Yeshua HaKohen, I believe is the full name, and he should be blessed with his bar mitzvah this weekend. My nephew are very excited to join him, as well as bring my daughter Mindel Tova Bas, dedicate to her as well, Bas Elio Eliezer Cohen, but also my holy soulmate Masha Bas Chaya, we should dedicate to all our family. She'll be here, as well as the good health of my mother Chana Liba Bas Simcha, and please God, we'll be able to hear only good news from all of us as we're praying and building the kelim, the vessels for the new year. This is an amazing opportunity, all of us. So thank you for sharing the previous few classes. I even got some feedback in person. People said they're enjoying it, and also online. Thank God we get to make a YouTube and Instagram, a Facebook Live, as well as the podcast, which we put on Spotify and Apple, as well as SoundCloud. I just uploaded last night's class on SoundCloud. Chayela was the time of the Baal Shem Tov, we have his merit, as well as the Balatanya, Mishneh Zalman of Liadi. We have the birthday, Yom Yoleret, the beginning, just like we're beginning a new year. We prepare these 12 days, which represent, obviously 12 was very deep, the 12 tribes, the 12 cholas, at your Shabbos table, at the base of Migdash, we had the Lechem Oponim. The idea of 12 is very deep, the concept of the 12 constellations, 12 mazolas, the idea that we have 12 Chodoshim, and we elevate all those 12 Chodoshim through Amunah, through tapping into this special time of the shofar blowing. This brings a certain unification from the inner aspects of ourselves. So we're going to now tune into what we're going to talk about for the Bnei Akiva, just a little preparation, some sources, the idea of relationship flow and being proactive. So we're in a time right now in 2023, only another few 4 months away from 2024. Thank God we're improving everything we're doing, the Unity booking site, Unity marketing. I don't want to not forget to mention, everyone can reach out to me about that as well. Check it out, links below. Big shout out to my brother-in-law for stepping up and giving me some advice. I'm still in the process of updating the site, the unityinspiredprojects.com. So reach out there, as well as my Substack, the extracts keep coming. We're trying to put out this book, United Souls, to really give a unified picture of what it means to connect from the soul level to the Jewish people, to the world, to the truth, the inner soul level. It will be an answer to a lot of questions out there that people are having. You hear from, we will correct his name, Oliver Anthony. It actually ends up not being his name, funny enough. He has a different name, but Oliver Anthony, the music, that song, coming from an old soul to a new world, it's a challenge. How do we bring in that light to the online platforms? And thank God someone like him was able to do it. And Shapiro gave him a shout out that he appeared on Joe Rogan and did such a great job, thanks to Joe being so open to hear from different ways of thinking. And that openness, that conversation, that proactive flow, that's the key, what we're trying to do here. And it will be crucial to the relationship flow, which we all struggle with. There isn't a person, even the Chabad Shliach last night spoke at the Farbrengen. He came from Mayanot. He spoke about, it's not easy. The joining, becoming the idea of becoming Basa Echad, of becoming one soul, when even though we're created as two people, the husband and wife, this relationship flow is a challenge, because all of us know ourselves that being a man and being a woman, being a mashpia, being a couple, being these different entities is not simple to bring that unification, that connection, that oneness. So all of us together have to work on that. It's a unified challenge by us all. So being that this is something that all of us are going through on a daily level, whether we have a relationship yet in a revealed sense, or we're still searching, or we're not even in that parsha yet, we're not even there yet, or we're already thinking that, the way to manifest that feeling of connection is through, God forbid, one night stands or different ways that the world communicates, which has, become a very promiscuous approach to this relationship flow. We have to understand that on the soul level, the request of most people when it comes down to it is to find that other person and to constantly work at becoming one with them. And it's a daily avoda. It's something which takes a lot of energy. And especially with the Yom Tov coming up, we want to be able to be blessed. All these different beautiful prayers that we say on the night of Rosh Hashanah, as the whole energy of the old year goes up, and as we Shabbos, we don't blow the shofar, but the idea, the energy of Shabbos brings down the new year, as well as the shofar blowing on Sunday, just a week and a half away. The idea, this energy, this new life force, this new chiyas, this new you, comes down and is manifesting. But you want to be able to do that on a soul level, that you are connecting to the other half, and that is a big challenge. That's where the Ezer Kenegdo comes into reality, that she's helping you, but she's connected you. And that's the truth of every relationship, that we're there to help each other grow, and it's constantly a challenge. And so that's something that's, the more we understand it, as Rav Shlomo was saying today, we have to walk around almost like with two hearts, a heart of joy and tshuva and simcha, and then a heart of bitterness, that it's not always going to be manifesting what we're hoping to do. And for example, like my Unity bookings, I'd love it to be rock and roll, booking every day. Still, even though I've got an amazing list and it's growing, or we're sorting it out, but it's not booking every day. It's not happening all the time. And whoever out there has a community and can help with that, please do make a big difference. But the point is that the revelation of my full vision of this concept of united souls and the Unity bookings or Unity marketing, bringing together people and creating more and more events on a daily level, that hasn't yet manifest, even though please God it will. The full studio, for example, I'd like to do the Unity Flow podcast in a proper professional studio. That would need funding. So once again, to manifest that, I'm going to be praying. And that's something which, even our home right now, we're looking even long term as part of my Shalom bias to like move to a place that's more fitting for my soulmate. So that challenge right now of going, because that's already a big obstacle to move home. I've moved 10 times in the Holy Land, not a small thing. And then Attila just came, so I lifted up my hands. Yeah, beautiful, exciting, energy, exciting. We must realize we are already married to God. We are his bride. Then we will see how we relate with everyone else in our world. He is our image. Very good. Thank you there on YouTube. That's from the Soulmate Connection. Beautiful. We appreciate that. And that is true, that by connecting into the source of, and that is the key. That's what I was just about to say. That really to have success, to do all those things, we have to do it first with tefillah. That's, as our friend was saying, he anticipated, or she anticipated what I was about to say, the idea that we are needing to pray before this new year, especially with Elul, and comes up Rosh Hashanah, we're not really meant to, on that day, to have our own personal requests, except for certain special moments during shofar blowing, or there's certain moments you can throw in a few personal requests, but the real concept of Rosh Hashanah is the mamlech, is to crown the king. And that's a very important concept in your relationship as well. It's not about what you get. It's about a bigger vision for the couple, for the soulmate connection, and that's the same leading up to the wedding or to the crowning. The idea is to think about now, what can I do for this other person? That's something which everyone nowadays has some sort of challenge with, because, for example, social media. Yeah, let's go into like real life, where we are, 2023, 24, 20 challenges. All of us have a certain, to whoever's online, to see, how liked we are. Maybe we're saying we're doing it for higher reasons because we want to share emunah or share unity or bring truth to the world. But even then, we all have an ego, and we all have an aspect of ourselves that gets, God forbid, increased in terms of our ability to impact, and we start to feel, wow, like I'm this person, appreciate that person, and then have to work, God forbid, and not becoming arrogant and not becoming full of ourselves, not getting self-focused overly. Like the concept is the narcissist energy that's going on in the world. We need to like really work hard on that, especially nowadays, and to really think about what the other person's needs are as best we can. Obviously, it's not so simple. Each person's going to have their personal needs, their personal journey in terms of where they're holding in health, mental health, well-being. You have to constantly assess, with objective ways of doing that, either speaking to someone who are learning about it, or constantly, researching, praying on it. Most importantly, as a person here said before, connecting to God, most ultimate objective force in our life. Yeah, everyone who's struggled ever with any addiction would understand that by connecting to that ultimate force, that is the relationship flow that we're trying to tune in. That is Ashkacha Pratis. That's the day today, Chayel, Baal Shem Tov, Balatanya, connecting into the divine flow that should enter our life. And that will give us ability to tune into really where is the healthy way to give and the right way to give. So the boundaries are set and everything's done that we can do in terms of established efforts. Same with Panasa. Everyone needs to have, maybe to make a living. And I was talking to the Olam last night, the group last night in the shul. The idea, we have to call out and have our hosts as Spe'eru and hope in Hashem that He will provide for us Be'ito in the right time. And that's the idea, that's why it's connected to El. This time is a time to prepare for the new year, for the new year of abundance, to bring down. And that's so important in a relationship, that we should be able to be giving, should be overflowing, to overflow with what's needed in the relationship to really empower it. And that takes a lot of tefillah, because then everything you do, say you're trying to buy a house or rent a house or whatever, rent an apartment, whatever it is, get a new job, bring more shepherd, you need it to come with bracha, with blessing. Because without bracha, there are plenty of people out there. You'll say to me, oh, these people, they're so successful, and they are seemingly externally, and they don't have an emunah system, they don't have faith in God, or they don't pray. Well, maybe they've done a lot of mites and tovim, acts of kindness, maybe they have merits from previous times. There's all kinds of ways of explaining it, but the bottom line is that for you personally, what you need to do is to pray, to bring the blessing, bracha, that it will have a kiyum. That's the point, that it will last, that it will have that eternal blessing. And then you understand that even if things don't go exactly your way, but you start to now have the flexibility, and Hashem gives you the ability, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, to deal and cope with those challenges, and to be able to then maneuver and be flexible. As Gedalia Fence always talks about, the idea of getting up quick, even when you fall. Many times you have to keep the main focus is how you get up. And that's the idea, same with all these kind of challenges, all these aspects, relationship flow. It's going to have ups and downs. And as Shlomo Katz was saying, in music, you see the ups and the downs. This is what makes music so good. If it would be just one note, it would be boring. So the concept of life has to have those ups and downs, those flows, those ebbs, those challenging moments of obstacles. And that's something which the Baal Shem Tov again and again was giving love and giving clarity to the human soul of humanity, to awaken us to the spark within, that we have the ability to cope and to strengthen and to choose right, so that we can just do it, but not just in a way that is with mindlessness, but with mindfulness, with the full intention of what we're here, that we're aware of how precious the relationship is between us and the soulmate. So, for example, say you have a young guy. We're going to talk about it today in the B'nai Akiva. We'll put up the audio right now, maybe a visual, but I'm thinking just audio will go on the podcast. So we're going to speak to the Mechina program there for these young boys about intimacy, the idea of going into the sea to really get to know that inner person, that it's becoming a certain intimacy, like see that person really what they are and connect in a deep way. So I understand that the one night stand, God forbid, is never going to accomplish anything for it's just self gratification, which is not going to bring any joy or long term bracha, blessing, success, anything good that we try to learn consistently in these platforms. And the point of proactiveness is going out and creating that relationship that will have the kiyum. But it has to come once again, with the prayer, with the concept of God, it's God-centered, that we have an understanding that the soulmate is going to come through our relationship with God, as our friend spoke on the YouTube. And that is something that everyone has to work on a personal level, their relationship with God. And that would be the first step before seeking out a relationship with another human being, so that you are already centered in the soul part of your being. So then you can now connect to the soul level of that other person. And that's why it's always such a war to connect in to the soul level of a person, because you do have other parts of yourself, and you have parts that, God forbid, you start to give up, God forbid, or Miash, you could say, why is Ellie keeps doing these podcasts, not on the bigger platform before with Breslev or whatever it was I was doing before? And the answer is no, God forbid. We have to keep going. We have to realize that we have opportunities now to grow in a new way, a fresh way. This is the reality check of 2023, 24 with AI and all the new things, all the new technologies that's come and coming, that we have to constantly revitalize ourselves and tune into the new flow that Hashem's giving. It's, in a way, it's more intense now more than ever, especially with relationships and especially with our own personal development, that we constantly have to renew ourselves again and again and again. This is not going to be something which is just going to happen easy. We're going to have to revitalize our way of outlook and our energy, and realize that that might mean changing a few things, changing our focus of how we present, how we connect, how we communicate, updating our outlook, our ability to perform, to constantly change and develop. It's not going to be the old stories. We're going to have to reinvent ourselves on a certain level, but realize that the real tools are within. And those real tools within are going to give us the guiding points. So, for example, when I was asked to give a class, thank God, years and years of learning by different holy people, now I have what to say, but for this time. Like, I'm going to speak to the B'nai Akiva boys. I can't speak in Torah. We have to realize that being proactive, going out and connecting, means to seek out what the other person needs. So too, relationship, we have to seek out what the other person is really looking for, so we can connect in a real way. So that might be listening to them, might be asking them, actually, what do you need? Finding out what they need, figuring out the communication out. Once again, with man and woman can be very challenging, because there's almost like a different language. As it says in the Torah, it does say that by Pashas Hazina. Right now in the Sam V'elech, already like these last pashas of the Torah. So in Chazina it says that Amacher, they're two different nations. So to the men it's V'daber, strong language, and to the women it's V'yomer. It's a softer, more gentle language, and that's the way Hashem communicates through the two nations of men and women. That's the Torah's understanding of humanity, of that man and woman were created. And that in itself, just having that clarity, that foundational understanding itself, will obviously help your relationship, especially with all the sexual challenges that are going on nowadays, where people are sexually confused, they don't know this, they don't know that, and what they are. Well, if you get clarity first, then you can connect to the other person. You have to know that you are in a world to be able to procreate. You're in a world to find that other half. You're in this world now, when you're with that other half, to build a home of blessing, that it should have a kiyum, it should have an establishment, it should bias ne'eman b'Yisrael, it should be a place, a house that's built on emunah, that's built some foundation of as this person wisely said, the soul connection, soulmate connection. I did it. It's based on Hashem. It's based on godliness, and that gives values to everything you do now. So when you eat food, you're making a blessing, and when you're having Shabbos, you're bringing that light. So, for example, for a young man nowadays who doesn't have that ability to make a home, that's not where they're at, and they're seeing a lot of young, attractive ladies. Yeah, so that's going to be now. What do they do? Because they think, right now my story is, and that was how I was educated as a more secular North London Jew, was that, my story is how many girls can I get, and when and what and how much, and maybe here and there it would get a little bit deeper and turn into a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend kind of thing, but it didn't develop into it wasn't, so it was only suddenly when I tuned into the soul level and I realized, and I went to university and I had certain other experiences and I was like, wait a minute, I'm not looking anymore just for these one night, these short term experiences. I stopped, masturbating on any level and just really tried to tune in that I have a bris, I'm a holy person, I have a soul, and it's only for a certain time, certain place with a certain person. And I woke up in that way, and that changed my whole experience. So university, thank God I didn't do anything with any ladies as far as I remember, and the idea of coming to yeshiva was even more so, to the point where I was, not just working on protecting my breast, but also the idea of protecting my eyes and learning, filling myself up with Torah and looking and praying for my soulmate that it should manifest. And it did, thank God, as anyone who knows my story. And it was about now being proactive, going out there and seeking it. And thank God I had the right guidance from the Rabbanim and from Shidduchim. And thank God my first Shidduch was my soulmate. So it wasn't such a hard road for me. But for a lot of people, finding that soulmate can be very, very difficult. But the point is, by being proactive and going out there, not just relying on the dating apps or the different technological things that, I never had that Messiah and that challenge that many people nowadays do. But I do get the challenges online where there's constant noise of trying to distract me from what my soulmate focus should be. There's always this idea that there's always something else, God forbid, and that's obviously forbidden, but there's always this other reality you imagine, or God forbid, you could get really pulled into all the world of the internet and porn that's out there, God forbid, and which thank God is keep far, far away. So then there's levels now you can go, instead of just running away from the bad, but you also have now what I can do good, how I can develop a deeper relationship with my soulmate and create more and more of a oneness. And this is now where the challenge becomes. So there's obviously stages. So I don't understand exactly how difficult it is because I didn't go through it. The dating app world and the whole internet experience of how to find soulmate in the way people are texting and sexting and all this stuff, terrible stuff that's going on. The idea that be able to just get through that noise, it's going to take that inner understanding, that point where you are more balanced, more centered in your being. And that really should be the focus first, become more in touch. I'll quote Jay Shetty, why not? He works with my family a little bit. The idea that he became a monk, I'm not saying anyone should become a monk, God forbid, but, there's worse things, but the idea that he became spiritually focused before he could then get sexually focused, that's the idea. Yeah. And in our understanding of the Jewish world, that means that we have to really choose a more proactive path of spiritual development. That means we have to proactively go out there and become more in touch with who we are. And then we can go out there and become more in touch with who that other person is. We'll start to recognize, once we know more clear who we are, then we can recognize how that other person balances and complements and can be part of that vision of that soulmate connection. So let's hear what the soulmate connection actually wrote. I believe our relationship with Hashem is sacred, but we need to understand our relationship to each other must also be understood with much respect, much love. Yeah, that's true. That's something which, growing up in England, you develop a little, I'm not making excuses, but you get a bit of a sarcastic kind of sense of humor. So I'm going back to London, as I said, this weekend. One of the things I need to work on is just try to be a bit more gentle, especially with the other nation, as we mentioned. The Torah itself communicates that. And the Tzama V'yelech is a time where we can do tshuva. So there's always opportunity, as it says in this week's Parashat Shabbos, Hashem Elokecha, the idea of constantly returning back to Hashem. Shavta Hashem Elokecha, returning. This is something which we all need to do now. Return and constantly fix our relationship with our soulmate and with our others. If we've been disrespectful, to work on being more respectful, use our words carefully, and to bring out the best in the people around us and the Kudas Tovas. And that's one of the big klalim that we learned from Shlomo Katz, this Erev Shabbos, the idea of the Zmiris. has to be with that kind of song and energy. And that will bring out the nucleus of the table of all the people around us at the Shabbat table and Rosh Hashanah this year. We say we stick the honey, so the apple and the honey, and we want a Shana Tova Matuka, a sweet year. We have to bring out the sweetness. The Davash is very connected. Davash Gemachi Isha, the idea of a woman. The woman is really a very sweet thing, and it's something which takes a lot of sensitivity and respect to understand what is really a woman, and to become one with that entity of understanding. It's not just the sweetness. You don't want to get sick from it. Yeah, it's the Abba Rachamim is also Gematria Dvash. The idea of merciful Father needs to be present in that relationship to help us have. I mean, that's the miracle of the world, that so many people manage to have relationships even when they're not tuned in to these more spiritual concepts. That's the chesed of Hashem, the kindness of Hashem, that He gives people ability to be married and to have relationships and to develop that soul connection, even when they don't truly understand or haven't done the inner work yet. That's the kindness of God, and it's constantly going on in creations. About the Bab Rebbe mentioned this many times in his Perush in the Chumash. The idea that it's a chesed Hashem, it's the kindness of God, that there are so many relationships that seem to last out there. But rather than it just sort of lasting, which is right now a time where that's not really going to work, because it's going to be tested to the nth degree with all the distractions, all the noise, all the the different, without getting into all the things, but the way the world's built right now to pull you away from that oneness, you have to now really want it more than ever. You have to pray for it. You have to put energy into it. You have to put the chiyas of Chayalul. We have to remember the shofar there to wake us up, that we are souls and we have a soul. It's being Nishmas Chaim. It's being blown into us, into the inner essence of who we are, bringing down a new Shabbat. The Shabbos is in itself this year a big part of all the Tishrei. Tishrei is Shabbos that we get to experience the oneness of Shabbos and to bring that into Rosh Hashanah, to bring that into Sukkot, as well as obviously it influences Yom Kippur, which is also called a Shabbos. The idea of the Shabbat, the idea of that Achdus, the Yom of Neshama, the not Yom of Neshmasa, as it says in the Zohar. The idea it's a day of soul. The connection to the soul level is what gives us the ability to make the right choices and use the 6 days of the week and the new year to come to work hard to bring the Shefa to our home, to bring the new abundance that we need. So everyone should be blessed with that. I appreciate everyone who joined us. Sorry, it's a little bit longer than I usually would do. We're trying to keep it to 20 minutes. But this is the first time we're talking about being proactive in intimacy, to go and really push yourself to make those relationships, not just rely on some app, but to actually go and interact with people. It's a time more than ever where we need to make more of an effort. We can't just have it easy. We have to push ourselves to do the right kind of thing, not to be reactive to what's going on out there, but to be proactive, to be positively motivated, to seek out that soul connection. And with that, we'll be blessed, please God, with a soulful new year, a year where we'll be one, please God, with Hashem, one with the soul, and one with the soulmate, one with the Torah, one with the spiritual truths that are, in essence, what guide and built this world, and will constantly build this world in a good way, and guide us all, please God, to the Shemus, where we'll see the ultimate unification of all the souls and our Creator. Amen, amen. Thank you for joining us, and everyone should be blessed. Beautiful. See you after England.